Hey, this is Bonnie Bishop, and you're hanging out with WMOT 89.5 Roots Radio.
Yeah, John Walker here at the Luck Reunion in Spicewood, Texas, hanging out with Bonnie Bishop. And it's so good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Texas girl.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm right at home.
It is just music in the air. It's spiritual, and we're just loving it.
It's a beautiful day out here. We are blessed because it was raining and supposed to storms and all this stuff, all this bad news they predicted, and we got this beautiful day. This is like Texas weather at its best.
Because in a little while, like Tennessee, it's going to be way too hot.
It's going to get real hot.
So this is perfect.
We got hot, and we got real hot.
And good planning on Willie's part.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, we've been kind of stuck back here in our little cubby all day. So is your set yet to come tonight?
My set is over, and it lives on in spirit. I'm sorry that you missed it. It
lives on in infamy. I am, too. I mean, I've been having a good time sitting here running my mouth and talking to everybody, but I want to get out there and hear some music, too.
Yeah, you got to get out of this wood you're in. You're kind of in like a shaded glen.
We're trying to get away from all the music, but it really is not working. As you can hear in the background, everybody, we are surrounded by music.
Surrounded by it and trying to escape.
It's pretty chaotic.
Yeah, it's wonderful, though. It's a lot of noise. A lot of really good noise.
Good noise. Beautiful noise.
A lot of happy people.
And music has a way of doing that. You know, I was going to start with a different question, but that just makes me think about the work that you did with the Songwriting for Soldiers project. And we've been talking, and one of the themes we've been talking to everybody about today is the way music, just in a spiritual way, kind of transcends language and really can heal and unite and do all these things in a world that's divided in so many other ways. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I've gotten to do 3 retreats with Songwriting with Soldiers, and I didn't know to be intimidated going into it the first time, but, you know, it's an incredible privilege to get to sit in a room with somebody who's devoted their life to protecting our country and at the same time had their voice silenced, because that's part of the deal when you become a soldier, because, you know, they can't be emotional, and that's a part of them that they have to shut down to go do that job, oftentimes. I would say probably that's what you know you're getting into. And to get to sit in a room with them and be somebody that they can share about their experience and let it out and have a safe place. And not only that, but we're getting to teach them a tool, which is here's a healthy way you can channel all your emotions. Because I think that's, you know, the biggest issue in the military community with the soldiers is, you know, PTSD and depression and, you know, just having not been allowed to feel those emotions and then coming home and being so flooded with emotions from what they've seen and what, you know, their job requires, that they have a lot to say. And we have a very short period of time to do it. We have these retreats. We get there Friday night. We ride on Saturday. We ride on Sunday, and then they go home. And every soldier leaves with a song. Wow. So we sit with them. We have 3 hours to write with them, each person. And there's usually 4 writers, 3 to 4 writers. So each of us writers ends up writing 3 or 4 songs over the weekend. And like I said, I didn't know to be intimidated the first time, and I've been terrified the last 2 retreats I've done, because I know that I have been brought into that organization to use my gift in a really beautiful way. And that's why I do this, and it's what I live for, and it's why I've never quit the music business, because I know that it's something that was inside me, and I've nurtured it and I've watered it, but it's something that was meant to be given, and to get to share it in that way is something that's very meaningful work for me. And I want to do a good job for them.
And you have, you know? and we thank you for that. It really just gives them a healthy, cathartic way to get that off their chest. It's something that they've been kind of expected to bottle up and hold inside. And it's really important work. It really is. Thank you for that.
Well, and I also want to give a shout out to my friend Mary Gaucher, whose record was nominated for a Grammy, and it was a really poignant, incredible body of work that she shared, and honest collaborations with people who were not songwriters previously. You know, these guys, most of the guys and the women that are coming to us for those retreats have never written a song before, and that is a really cool collaboration that she did, and it's out there. And you can check out the songwritingwithsoldiers.org website, information about how to contribute or get involved if you are an active duty military or a veteran and you want to hear more about what we're doing, or maybe come join us for one of those retreats. You can get information on their website.
It's a beautiful thing. We do appreciate that. Now, let's talk about you a little bit. You've got some surprises coming up this year. Can we,
Well,
are we going to get in trouble?
No,
Yeah, I mean,
I already got in trouble.
okay, the trouble's over, so we can talk about
I'm
it.
always in trouble.
Oh, me too.
So I've been working on this really amazing record since August with Steve Jordan in New York City. And Steve is somebody that I've always wanted to work with. Incredible drummer, great producer, so fun to work with. We had a blast, and I have wanted to make a record with him ever since Continuum came out, John Mayer's album. I think it was, what year was that? Let me think. I know because that record got me through my divorce, and I got divorced in 2009, and I think I found it in 2009 or 10, but I think it came out in 2008. And I was so in love with that record, and I've never fallen out. I've fixated on that record for probably 3 years. It just lived in my CD player. And I was like, man, I want to work with that drummer. Those beats never left me. Mm-hmm. And this music that I wrote for this record is pretty lyrically heavy. All my content is usually kind of like, I'm very ballad heavy and mid heavy, and I'm singing about real stuff, right. Like and deep. And sometimes like I don't know how to translate that to an audience musically, because it's a lot to ask somebody to sit in a show for 90 minutes that is just like constantly emotional and making them dig way deep. It's like I'm reading my journal on stage. I got sick of that, it's like, and so I wanted to work with Steve because I was like, I need some beats and a way to help move this music through myself and to deliver it in a way, because I want to be out on the road more. I want to work more, and we want to be playing as a band. And so I want to do more shows, but I also don't want my show to be something that is not danceable, because that is the part of it that I really love. And I feel, I connect deeply with audiences sometimes and with myself when I sing those ballads and I sit at the piano and I do the sad songwriter thing. But I also don't want to do that all night, every night, or I'm going to get depressed. And so is everybody else. So it's like I try to give everybody a full experience, and I needed more music that kind of just grooved. And I was like, Steve Jordan is the guy.
He's the guy.
He's the guy. And I had to be really patient, because right when I spoke it out loud and said, I'm going to do this, I want to get my music to him, it was a year and a half before that was in his hands. And then it happened very quickly because, it was in his hands, and then it was like 6 months before we heard from him because scheduling was so crazy. And then when he called me, he was like, I got 3 weeks.
He was ready to go.
I've got 1 week in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I've got these 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to hear that. I am compelled, and we're going to get to hear that this fall?
Yes, that's coming out this fall.
That's exciting. When you were saying that, it made me think of, back in the 90s, I always thought that Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, was a real game changer, because she was like unburdening some very heavy emotions, but it was poppy at the same time. Yeah. And glad that, that was probably a cathartic experience for her, because then she got happy. But it's really a beautiful perspective, for you to have that kind of consideration for your audience, that you want them to
I want them to dance, because I'm not a dancer, as my dance teacher in high school said. She said, Bonnie, there are dancers and there are movers, and you're one hell of a mover. But she was like, you could
That's
not dance.
funny.
But I was on drill team. I was determined to be on drill team for some reason. I don't know why. I just wanted to do it, and I loved dance, but I just wasn't super coordinated. But like when nobody's looking, I'm one of those people that like I dance in my living room and I get down. Like I'll do it as like exercise, and like I'll do it for like an hour, and it makes me so happy. And I'm like, there's a disconnect between that amazing feeling where I'm just having a blast and dancing and then singing all sad songs all the time. So there's two sides, you know, for me. And everybody's like that. And it's like, I like to give people that full roller coaster of emotions, you know, when I give them a show, I'm giving them everything I got, you know? So I'm really excited about that record. Now, in the meantime, because that, you know, those records, that when you do things on a national scale, they take a while to set up. You know, you got to make sure all the teams all the right people on the team, and they're all moving in the same direction at the same time. So that takes a while. Well, it's been 3 years since my last record, and also this music is different from what people are used to hearing from me. So I decided to put out this acoustic record that's kind of like a musical comfort food for my fans who knew me from like 2002 to 2010, those old country records when I was, you know, putting all that music out here in Texas. And none of those are online or available in print anymore. So we went back and re-recorded like kind of my favorites of those acoustically and did a really cool stripped down raw record. And I worked on it secretly in Fort Worth and recorded it in my house with some friends, and didn't tell the label. 30 Tigers is, you know, we're supposed to be doing this Steve Jordan record together, and I didn't want them to be like, no, you don't need to put that out because it's going to confuse people. And I was like, all right, well, surprise! I put it out on my 40th birthday.
So you went with
what
the.
Is up? Fort Worth, baby. Hey!
So you went with the.
I was just talking about our record.
Woo!
My Fort Worth friends just showed up to the party, hanging on the fence. What? The design is really good too. It's very good. The design is incredible. By Spencer. Wait, but I didn't remember. I got your name wrong. I got your last name wrong. I was calling that guy the wrong last name for like 3 years. Anyways, yeah. So we recorded it in my house in Fort Worth. Some of my friends came over. Ryan, my boyfriend, came over, played guitar. Aiden played a little bit of bass. And Papa Smith played like drums on one song. Like it's super stripped down. But it's like the best of like things that my fans love that they request when I play live shows in Texas, like Soft to the Touch and Brent Rollins, and like, you know, songs that I wrote with Ray Wiley Hubbard, Walt Wilkins, and just early on in my career. And I love the new versions because it's my interpretation of that song, but from where I am now looking back. And there's something really beautiful to me about that.
So you decide to go with the, it's better to beg forgiveness
ask
than
forgiveness,
ask for...
Yeah, they're not so happy. Yeah,
and
I
David
put it
Macias and everybody, they did all right with it, right?
Well, they were okay with it until they realized I'd put it up on TuneCore without it talking to anybody about it. So I put it up on TuneCore, and then I, you know, so it's on iTunes and all that, but I put it out on my 40th birthday and threw this big party in Fort Worth and just started selling them out of the back of my van like I did in the olden days. I only printed up 500 CDs, and I'm like, that's all I'm going to print up. And my diehard fans, I had a fan the other night. She bought 25 of them.
Because it's just really, truly, when you look at the arc of your career someday, you know, that's the kind of stuff that legends are made of. You know, because now the old stuff that you took down becomes the bootlegs that they're really proud of having, and then it's released. Because what it shows me is that you really care about your people.
Yeah, I care about
because they care about your music, and
I care about those people because I'm like, they liked me before I liked me. You know, I never felt like I was good enough. I was always trying to be better and write better songs. I kind of drove myself crazy living in Nashville, like taking that course and just being so like, I have to be the best songwriter that ever lived. You know, it's like, just relax and be the songwriter that you are. And sure, show up every day and get better and push yourself, but don't push yourself over the god dang hill into the ocean where you crack your head open.
That's such good advice for young artists to realize that, hey, listen, and it really goes back to...
Take your time and hone your craft.
Yes, and your life is the song, so let it be what it is. Like you said, you know, these soldiers hadn't written songs before. but they had a song in them
Yeah.
when they were given an opportunity to just let it out.
Everybody has a song in
Yes.
them. You know, and it sounds cheesy or metaphorical, but it's just true. It's like if you listen, there are songs, and sometimes your song is sad. And sometimes your song hurts so bad you don't want to sing it, you don't want to write it, and you don't want to get stuck there. And I think a lot of songwriters are so dedicated to that craft, but they kind of drive themselves crazy, or we drink our, shoot, I've done it, you know, and drink yourself so much because you're just trying to go out and socialize, but you're actually kind of sad because it just feels like networking and you're not really making friends. You're just climbing a ladder, and it's just kind of this, that's why depression is so prevalent in that community, and it's a problem, you know. And for me, I've always struggled with that, and that was part of, for this record, I was like, this is my fight with depression. I'm getting out of it by making a new beat, you know.
Good for you.
And
may I suggest that maybe you write a few songs while you're dancing, while no one is looking. Just let the
oh my God,
turn on the tape machine. Just, you know,
that's why I've always kept my own place, because I'm like, you know, I've been with the same person for almost, you know, 3.5, 4 years now, but I always keep my own place because I need a place to go dance and be a total nerd, you know, and
I understand.
Laying around in my robe and cry it out, write my journal. I'm like, nobody needs to see that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
What a delight to talk to you, Bonnie Bishop.
I'm glad I found you.
Well, yeah, we're kind of hiding out back here in our little cubby. It's kind of weird. But you know, we were going around scouting out locations, and it just seemed like, well, we were in the way
need to
everywhere.
Be somewhere quiet, yeah.
And this is about as quiet as it gets. And I hear somebody shredding on a guitar, even still.
I know.
Langhorne Slim was here about an hour or two ago, and he managed to just like sing and play like there was nothing going on.
Oh man,
I admire
awesome.
that. I could never do
That's
that.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I had my eyes closed for the first 3 songs of my set because I was so dang nervous. There were so many people in that room, and we've had such a great time this week. You know, my band and I have gotten to come down here and play 3 shows in a row, you know, and in a beautiful stay at my parents' ranch out in Wimberley, and just a beautiful day here. And it's really full circle too, because Willie Nelson was doing a celebrity golf tournament with my dad, my stepdad, who was a football coach, and he told Willie that his daughter was a singer, and so Willie set me up at Arlen's studio. This is in 1998.
Really? So that was
partnered
kind of
me-
like the break for you?
And partnered me. So his nephew, Freddie and Lisa owned Arlen Studios, and they also ran Pedernales. And they set me up with Riley Osborne, who's this incredible piano player from Austin, Texas. And he's been around for, you know, he was here in the 60s when you could still get an apartment in Clarksville for $75 a month, as he used to tell me. And so I'm like this, you know, super white kid from the suburb coming in, moved to Austin for college. And they set me up with Riley, and he would like take me down to the original Guadalupe Records, Antone's Records on Guadalupe Street. And we would pick out vinyl, and he educated me on like Ruth Brown and Gillian Welch. That was like right around when Revelator came out, maybe.
Wow.
But anyways, yeah, and so he helped me like kind of get my voice out, and he was like, I think you're a blues singer or a soul singer. He was trying to figure out what I was. He was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to not have to get a job. I want to make money doing music so I don't have to get a job. And I could sing anything. So he helped me, and I did a blues
Helped you
demo.
find your voice.
Yes, and I didn't even write songs yet. So I did my first demo at Arlen, but it's all because my dad and Willie had this golf tournament
And so you
together.
got to catch me up on that. Your dad is a football coach for...
My stepdad, he and my mom got married when I was 12, and he moved us to Mississippi. He was the head coach at Mississippi State for 14 years.
Wow.
And in the 80s, he was the head coach at Texas A&M. In the 70s, he was the head coach at Pittsburgh, and he had come up under John Majors, who was the head coach at Tennessee for years. He's part of a very elite group of legendary coaches. Played for Bear Bryant at Alabama in the 60s,
Wow.
2 national championships there. Coached Dan Marino and Tony Dorsett, pulled them out of high school. He's a legend, incredible coach, incredible human being, and a mentor to me. Just taught me to. Taught me to survive the music business, because
Wow. Yeah.
getting my ass kicked on the sidelines working for him. I worked for him on the sidelines. I carried his cord just like this, only this headset cord was 50 yards long.
Oh, so you were his gaffer.
Cord carrier, yes. So I stood on the side. You know, we were tethered to the 50-yard line, and he had 50 yards of cord, so he could go to either end zone. And I had to roll the cords up, and there's a certain way you had to do it.
Right.
And there was no rhythm
Eric
to what.
Eric is all about that. Our producer.
Are you?
He is like the cord wrapping Nazi. Yes.
Man. He would take off running, you know, and you had to really I didn't know anything about football. We'd never seen a football game. And I'm 13 years old the first time I was down there. And I'm on this court, and he looked at me. I didn't know what the hell my job was. I got down there. They put this thing on me. They gave me the headset cord, and my dad looked at me, and he said, "Stay right beside me and keep your eye on the ball." And then he went to work. And he had a yellow tablet. He was writing notes. He never looked at me. He expected me to anticipate his move.
You were the gaffer.
And I was looking at boys. I was 13, and I'm like, I'm in heaven down there, right? I'm totally boy crazy, and I'm in heaven. And so it's like I'd be looking at the boys thinking, oh, nothing's happening. They're just snapping the ball. So I can look back behind me, and then Jackie would go running down the sidelines. And if I wasn't paying attention and I had that cord tight, that headset would just fly off his head. And he would turn around and be like, "Bonnie, God!" Can't say what he said. Beep, beep. I said, "Stay right by me." And he would, oh man, he would embarrass me so bad in front, because I wanted the players to like me, right? I wanted to be cool. I was trying to be super cool with my black jeans and my Apex tennis shoes, right? My Mississippi State shirt, and I would curl my hair. I'd curl my hair for hours before game day. I would get up at 6 a.m. on game day and start curling my hair, and it would all go flat by the time we got down there. But I just wanted to. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on national television. You know, I got swept up in all the fame. That's why I get, that's why I'm like, oh, I chased that same thing as a singer-songwriter, but it's I don't want that. I saw the other side of it, I saw the really cool parts of it, going to all those games and riding the bus with police escort. And I sat right next to Jackie in the front row on the first bus, pull right through the crowd. We had police everywhere and blockades and people, Jackie, go Dogs, just nuts. And I just got infected with that. I was like, oh my God, I could
do this.
Oh my God, I want to do this job. But yeah, it's, it was so much fun. It's something that I've never, but the purity of the game for my dad and his players, that's the part that taught me. That's where you stay grounded. There's all the network and all the BS you got to do and kissing all so-and-so's booty and whatever and people you don't like and putting a smile on your face and acting like you're in a good mood. It's you got to play that game, and I hate it. And he hated it too. But there was a purity when I stood beside him on the field with those players. And they were in it because they were a team, and they had they went through some stuff because they had 2 players die in those 12 years. That we were a team. That 91 to 2002 he retired. 2003 he retired. But the purity of that love he had for those guys and the love they had for each other, and because it's college, right? Back then it was, nothing's ever totally innocent, but it was way more innocent than pro ball ever would be.
And it's Texas.
When this was
the Texas sensibilities. I mean, that
we were in Mississippi.
Right.
This was in Mississippi State.
But,
so these are
he was from Texas, yes?
He was born in Oklahoma, but he's Southern. It's
it's a religion
football
down here.
Is a religion in the South.
It's a molder of character, and it is pure. I mean, it's gotten commercial a little bit, but I know what you're saying. Those guys. It was
the football, but it's really the camaraderie, and I really learned that from him. I was because for us, we're driving down the road, we're doing all this BS that's hard, 8 hours in a van, sometimes 12 hours, and those first 10 years of anybody's career, you're not worth your salt if you weren't sleeping in the back of that van every once in a while or sleeping on people's couches, you live life together with these people in non-glamorous conditions. And so it has to be about something, and it's about that camaraderie, and you have it with the audience too, but it's that spirit. Right. And you're in it together in the van, and it's I got that from him with his
that's
team.
so cool.
You know,
I didn't know any of that. That's really a fascinating perspective.
I could talk about him all day long. I love him. He is one of the just biggest influences in why I did everything I did and learned. But boy, I learned those lessons so slow. You know, some of those lessons he was trying to teach me. God, like keep your damn eye on the ball.
That was my dad's mantra.
Them, you know,
keep your eye on the ball, son. It wasn't until he was gone that I really understood that he wasn't just talking about the ball.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my dad had a saying, which was, you got to give them more than X's and O's.
Yeah. Wow.
You got to, more than just being a teacher. Yeah. More than teaching them how to do their skill or being a teacher for that. More than being, that's what a real coach is. That's what the great coaches were. They were mentors. They were father figures. And he was that. And I've been on the side, been collecting stories from my dad's former players. And I've given him a bunch of them now. But I want to compile them into a book. I just do it whenever I can. I collect these stories, and that's what they all tell me is he was a great coach because he was a player's coach, he was a mentor, he was a friend, he was a father figure. And he was a father figure for so many that didn't have father figures, and that was his story too. So he's passing on his gift. He grew up without a dad, and he found football, and it saved his life. And great mentorship and great coaches along the way helped him become the man he is. So he wants to give back, and he spent his whole life giving back to teams and given everything he had and sacrificing family time. You know, that's not an easy life, you know. So my mom's an incredible person too, because they've been together for, I guess, like 28 years now or whatever. I still get chills talking about him and thinking about that. And I'm trying to get him to come out here. I keep texting him. I'm like, I got you an artist band. What are you doing? Come say hi to Willie. He's taking my mom to the airport.
Because it's kind of a full circle moment.
I know.
Little did he know at that charity golf tournament that would lead to
yes, and you know what? The irony, my mom's headed to Nashville to watch my sister's dogs because they're going to spring break. And I'm like, oh, and y'all are missing this because mom's flying to Nashville to watch Kelly's dogs.
Well, they'll get to see and hear this hopefully, and what a beautiful thing to share. I really
Thank you.
Appreciate
yeah, thanks.
that.
I didn't mean to ramble on and take up so much time, but
this is why we're here. We want to feel the hearts of the artists.
Thank you.
We're not in a position. Someone else is recording the music, and we do that back in Nashville. But we just wanted to talk to you and do exactly this. Hear your heart.
Awesome.
And it's a beautiful heart.
Well, thank you. Thanks for letting me share. I love talking to y'all. I'm glad to be here today.
Any plans for coming back to our humble town in the near future, I hope?
We are going to be at the original basement on
8th Avenue South.
I think it's on Wednesday, April 10th. That sounds right. Wednesday, April 10th. Yeah.
Awesome. That's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. I guess we'll get done from this run, and then the next week we'll be doing an East Coast. We got like a 2.5 week tour on the East Coast, and coming back. Going to go through Nashville on the.
Well, I can't wait to hear
the basement. I haven't played there in years.
Boy, what a classic place.
I know they've got that big fancy one now on the east side, but I like those little sweaty rooms. It feels like you're in a little dungeon in there. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a good dungeon.
Yeah, we're going to turn the lamp on.
Yeah, well, we're going to come out and hang out with you.
Great.
And thanks again. Looking forward to both of those albums. And I hope that 30 Tigers is okay with the acoustic album now.
Yeah, I think.
They're looking out for you. But hey, you only turned 40 once.
I know. I know.
You got to do what you got to do.
Once. Yeah, it felt good to just like embrace where you come from, embrace, because we all have parts of our past that, we're not all that proud of, and if you continue to grow, you'll always be able to say I ain't who I was, and I'm just happy that now I love who I am, and part of that for me has to be including where I've been in that journey, and that's what the new album kind of continues on. So I just thought it was a good way to,
Well, Bonnie Bishop, thanks for sharing your heart, and thanks for your music, and thanks for loving your fans the way you do. That's such a beautiful perspective. We appreciate you sharing and hanging out with us today on a beautiful Texas afternoon. It don't get much better than this.
No, it doesn't.
Roots Radio, WMOT, Bonnie Bishop. It's a good day.